Clemson obviously is in the proverbial driver's seat, right?
Yeah.
Everyone's following their path. NC State needs to make sure that they don't have a second slip. They can't let last week also beat them this week. Now, Wake Forest last week did a great job of bouncing back from that overtime loss against Clemson at home.
With a decisive win.
Yeah, a decisive win on the road at Florida State.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a huge bounce back from them. And I know Joe Giglio wrote this on WRL Sports Fan this week, is that generally after losses, Dave Doran teams respond with a win. So I expect NC State to come back strong in this one, but it's not going to be an easy one. But if you look at NC State's season right now as a whole moving forward, yeah, they probably won't win the Atlantic because you need Clemson to slip up twice. Mm-hmm. And the two teams best to beat Clemson in the Atlantic were Wake and State.
Yeah.
And they beat both of them. Now, maybe Florida State, maybe Syracuse slips in there.
Syracuse, they can upset somebody.
Exactly, because we'll get into Syracuse in a little bit. But you have to at least put yourself in a position that if Clemson does slip up, or maybe you're in some weird four-way tie, because let's say you beat Florida State, but Florida State beats them, and so I don't know, put you in something weird. I don't know. Anyway, but if you're able to get this win today, and you could put yourself on track if you beat Wake Forest later this season for an 11-win season.
Yeah.
Like, they legit can go 11-1, and there's what's to say that you don't make it to a New Year's Six bowl game? If Clemson makes the college football playoff, well, insert NC State into Peach Bowl or whatever. I can't remember what the bowl games are this year that are part of the playoff. But there's no reason why you can't go to a New Year's Six. And if you were to tell an NC State fan, hey, you're going to go 11-1 into a New Year's Six bowl game, that's one of the best seasons, if not the best you've ever had, since, with the exception of 1967.
And I was going to say,
no one's going to count that.
Another cool thing about that is you've only had 2 double-digit win seasons in your history.
Yeah,
and so you're looking at a legit chance to go 10-2 or 11-1 this year, and that's big. It may not be ACC championship big, which is what I think a lot of NC State fans are kind of hanging their hat on, and that's their expectation. But still, if you go back and you pull out and look at the big picture of what you've done in your history of the conference, you never were in an ACC, to me, that was this stacked on top.
Yeah.
And especially when there was divisions in the Atlantic Division, where legit the Atlantic Division could be the toughest division in college football. Could be.
I would argue second best right now.
It could be. And so, you've got, and then we can probably say, honestly, that the 4 best teams in the ACC are in the Atlantic Division.
You can argue possibly 5 if you count Syracuse.
And if that's very true.
Yeah.
And if you're still able to get out of that with a 10 or 11 win season, that is success right there.
Yeah.
And you've had a really good season despite so that means you had to go through all this historical greatness and you still were able to get double-digit wins, only the 3rd time in school history. That's big. So there's a lot to play for NC State. There's still a lot to look forward to for NC State fans. So just because you lost to Clemson, that doesn't mean it's all doom and gloom from here on out.